Listeners, welcome back to the Lead Well podcast. This is Brandon Holland, your host. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for just supporting this channel and supporting this podcast and for everything that you're doing to help grow leaders. And that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to help you grow. But first, we have a few announcements. In February, we will be at the North Carolina City Managers Conference. Also in February, we're starting something new with this podcast. On the 20th of every month, we're doing 20 on 20. And that's where we're doing 20 minutes of faith-based or Bible conversation on the 20th of every month. And so I'll have some pastor friends joining us. I might be doing some of them myself. But we've got a pretty strong lineup for you to help you with some devotion, some spiritual growth. And also in February, we'll be with the ECU College of Business, talking to the business school with Dr. Lee Wheeler and his students in the business and leadership class there at ECU, so East Carolina University. But there again, these episodes are going to be available for you this season every 2 weeks, and we will have either myself or one of my really cool guests on, and we'll do that here today. One of my really good friends, my brother, Mr. Nick McNeill. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, so to the listeners, Nick is a father. He is a wonderful man of God. He is a coach, and he is somebody who is investing in his community and helping build young leaders who are helping build the areas that you go to enjoy, right? So, Nick, let's just kind of jump right in and give our listeners a little bit of your background and give us an introduction to who you are, and then we'll get into the conversation and help make some people better.
All right. Yeah. Like you said, I am a father. I've got 2 kids. One, my daughter is 18, which is scary to think about. So she's a senior in high school and planning her life right now. And then my son's 15. So they spend a lot of time investing into what they have going on. And so that's part of the journey that I've had. Have spent 16 years working in healthcare, nonprofit worlds, working for charities, been 10 years in the fire service, a lot of volunteer work, a lot of church work, and now working at a YMCA. So like you said, always just been involved in the community in different ways. And I know we'll be talking a lot more about the coaching side of the world that I live in as we go along, but just have kind of had my hands in a lot of different things. Just always enjoyed giving back and serving the community in a variety of ways. And that's just kind of where my heart's always been at.
Okay. So you're coaching now at Asheboro Hybrid Academy, right?
Correct. Yeah, I've been there for this is our 4th season. So yeah, been there since day one of the sports program. So that's been an exciting journey.
Since day one. So how'd that start? What were you doing before, and how'd you kind of get into a school on day one?
So as far as coaching goes, I had done some little bit of coaching after high school out at Southeastern Randolph Middle School. I did 2 seasons out there helping them out. They had a coach that didn't know anything about soccer. I went to church with him. So he's like, will you come help? So went out there in the first season, had just an amazing team. I actually ended up setting a school record for most wins in the season, lost the championship in a shootout. So it was an incredible thing. So I spent 2 years there. And then the opportunity was to go over to Feville Street Christian School, which is where I played and went to school, and coached there for a few seasons. And then I took a break from coaching and actually invested in my daughter's done Randolph Youth Theater Company since she was 8. So spent several years. I mean, she's done over 100 shows in her lifetime, and spent a few years serving on the board of directors and helping them. And then about 2 years into Asheboro Hybrid Academy's 2 or 3, I forget now. But anyway, my kids started there when the school started. My son, Caleb, got in the car one day and he's like, they're starting to talk about next year adding some sports to the school, and soccer's one of the ones they're throwing around. if they did that, would you be willing to coach? And I was like, dude, if they ask, I would probably say yeah. But I was like, let's just
Okay.
see. I was like, they're probably not going to let you hire the coach. Let's just see, what happens. And then the athletic director reached out and offered the opportunity to coach the boys team, which was the first sports program that we launched. Come that spring, there was going towards the spring, there was talk about starting a girls team as well. So I went to the athletic director and I was like, if you're interested, if you're willing, I would love to do that as well. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, because I was afraid to ask, but because I didn't know if he'd want to do that. But because my son plays soccer, so it was easy ask when you have kids on the team, but when it's not, you don't have any connections to the team necessarily.
Yeah.
But so we just finished our fourth season of the boys. And we're in preseason mode for the fourth season of the girls team. So it just kind of, and the thing that I think attracted me to it was just, it wasn't just coaching soccer. It was building a program. It was starting brand new. Everything's new. I mean, the challenge was we knew we had 99% of the team was going to be a bunch of people who never played soccer.
Yeah.
And we're building it around the few that have. In the first season for the boys, we literally practiced in a guy's backyard. And it was interesting. So,
Yeah.
and we, the first season, I think the boys team might have won 2 games. The girls might have won 1 or 2 games. And those are the only losing seasons we've had. So we've gone second season for the boys, we went 500. Third season, we were state runner-ups. So girls haven't had a losing season since. And the last 2 seasons for both, they've been double-digit wins seasons. So we've built a program very quickly, a culture that really has a lot of guys and girls that are excited about soccer now. And in fact, this past season we had 6 girls and 3 guys, I think, playing travel leagues somewhere as well. So, and we
Wow.
started with 0. So, so it's taken off quite a bit, which makes it a whole lot more exciting when you see the excitement spread through the players, where they go from little soccer to just loving it. So,
Yeah. Dude, that's really incredible. So you got to be there on day one, and you're starting to build this program. So what what are some of the things that are are happening to help you grow the young leaders that you have? Because they're having to lead each other through this as well, because everything's new. So
yeah,
how's that going?
and I think this. I remember the very first day standing out there in that backyard and looking at a bunch of these guys, and I knew some of the boys and some of them I didn't. And asking them what did they want out of this. It's easy for me and my assistant coach to come in with this vision because we love soccer, we've played soccer, all this stuff. But and one of them, and the captain at that time, he said, I want to build something special. And so we took that, and that was pretty much the motto thereafter. It was, we're going to build something special. It's not just, that we want to just play soccer or we just want to. So that instilled a little bit more than just coaching a game. And the players have taught me just as much as I've probably taught them. They may not realize that at times, but my ability as a coach, or my philosophy of a coach, has evolved over the last 4 years more so than any of the years before that with any of the other teams that I've coached, because they showed me that I wasn't just teaching a game. It was encouraging to see that my love and passion for the game was contagious in the sense that a lot of kids picked up on it, but it was realizing that it was more than just that. I was teaching them more than just how to kick a soccer ball or the strategies of soccer. It was a lot of the things that we talked about was also life lessons that was allowing them to kind of see where they needed to grow and challenge themselves and push themselves, whether it's talking about, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Go out there. Whether it's bringing the right attitude. I always tell my team, we might have designated people who are wearing the captain's armband, but every single one of them are leaders. It's just, where are you leading? What
Yeah.
direction are you leading people in? And so, we've had, a lot of successes, and we've had some, bang your head against the wall moments of things aren't going like we want, or you peak at an earlier in the season than you wanted, and then now we're struggling, or we've run into, especially with the girls, just some unfortunate timed injuries that kind of just deflate the potential, where you just have a lot of what ifs. And so getting to understand that adversity isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
These are things that you're going to have to realize that at some point in time in life, you're going to be overcoming adversity. Hopefully you don't want to drown in it. So just always looking for those opportunities to have those talks, to pour into them, to invest in them. And also right now I've kind of shifted towards getting them to pour into each other as well, to be more than just, you know, on the field, but off the field, becoming a closer team, and having that family dynamic and taking care of each other, having each other's back, holding each other's accountable. And so it's been really cool. It's just a overall awesome group of kids. And I think you sometimes get to see a little bit more of that when it's a smaller atmosphere anyway, a smaller school,
Yeah.
because they all just going to know each other anyway. So there's no introductions. It's me and the coaches learning names more than them, because they all know each other. They know where each other's at, what their schedules are like, and what they're going through. But that also is so important, because when all of a sudden a player isn't showing up, or something seems off, usually someone on the team knows if there's something going on, maybe at home or at school, or a relationship. I mean, at this age, of course, relationships play a big part.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, they just broke up with their boyfriend or their girlfriend. Like, oh, that probably explains why they're acting a little off today. So, getting that feedback from each other so that we kind of know what we're dealing with. It's it's a pretty fun dynamic overall to work with these kids.
Man, that's pretty cool, and that's a huge honor to be able to develop and to pour into their lives and help them grow as young adults. Um, I know you mentioned culture earlier. What's something you want your team or your players to be known for? When this person was coached by Nick, what do you want that to mean?
Yeah, one of the things we always teach our teams is that we never want to be outworked. We
Yeah,
might be out soccered, we might be out talented. That's fine. I mean, if the other team's better than us, then they deserve to beat us. But we want to work hard and make them earn it, and I want them to carry that off the field as well. To going back to overcoming that adversity, being good leaders off the field, being good people, having good character. And I'm not one of those that believes that, well, they're pretty talented, so we'll overlook the ugliness of how they play, or how their attitude is, or something like that. It's no, there's an expectation when you put on the AHA jersey. We have expectations of how you're going to manage, how you're going to behave, how you're going to approach this. It means something. And if you're not hitting on those boxes, then we're going to pull you off the field, and you can just come over here and watch, because we have expectations, and we want that to be that everybody holds each other accountable to those things.
yeah,
And understanding that you're representing your school, you're representing God. We are a Christian school, so it's even more important, because we don't just play Christian schools. We're one of the few Christian schools that will play charter schools and public schools, and so understanding that how we represent ourselves is important. And we want to be honoring in that, and have the character and the integrity and the quality, that you hopefully will carry forward. That you realize that if you're playing a player and he's cussing you out the whole game, then how are you going to handle that? Or if
yeah,
they're being super physical, or the refs aren't calling it the way that you want, how are we going to respond to that? So, and then what are you doing off the field? How are you approaching the classroom? How are you approaching other people? How are you treating people? All those things are important, because that's a testament of the person that you are. And so,
yeah.
being a good soccer player will only get you so far in life. You need to be
That's
a good
right.
teammate. You need to be a good friend. So those are the things that we really try to spend a lot of time focusing on as well.
Okay. Okay. Man. So you said you guys are a Christian school.
Yes. It's not
Okay,
in our
so
name, Asheboro Hybrid Academy, but so we've had some Christian schools that don't necessarily want to play us because we don't have it Asheboro Hybrid Christian Academy, but
okay,
it is a faith-based school. They have Bible classes. And we are able to do all those things, and we do play. We are now. It's taken us a few years to get settled, but we are now in a conference and a state of other Christian schools throughout the state. So um,
okay.
that gives us a little bit more structure. Um, in what our schedule looks like. But we do play the URI charters, and we've played North Stanley and Chatham Charter and other schools that are not Forsyth Home Educators, High Point Christian Academy, that is Christian. So anyway, so
Yeah,
yeah, but so lots of different. We kind of have a variety out there, but it messes with the reps' heads because they're like, we were just here and y'all were playing URI, and now you're playing, a gospel light or a faith Christian or something. We're like, yeah,
yeah.
we'll play them all. So
All right, that's very interesting to me. So, how has faith played a role in your coaching, or how you're dealing with the youth?
yeah, I think it allows a lot more freedom. I think when you coach at a place like that, because you don't have to worry about a parent being upset that you shared your faith to a kid, one of your players or something.
Yeah,
It's a priority for us, and probably should be more of a priority than even I make it at times, because it's so easy to be like, we're here for soccer right now. Let's just focus on that, and let's get going. We only have so much time to get this practice in, so we're not going to be doing devotions. But so sometimes I have to even ground myself to remember that, we need to, saying a prayer before a game isn't the end of the world. We didn't lose that much time in our preparation. So I have to sometimes
yeah,
even remind myself, that there's bigger things than just soccer going on, but it allows us to have those conversations and those talks, and going back to just when we're talking about adversity, which our girls team games start into February, and we've already lost our goalkeeper for the year to an ACL.
wow,
And it's just, I mean, you're talking about an all tournament level goalkeeper, so she's not going to be replaced. It's just we got to find someone to play the position, and in a
yeah,
team that has high expectations coming into this season, and we're already facing that adversity. When we start having these conversations that start going beyond just soccer, but talking about when we face trials, when we face difficulties, it allows us to really use the biblical principles that we all know to be able to use real life examples and be like, hey, look,
yeah,
we don't have to be happy about this. We don't,
yeah,
God didn't tell us to, rejoice because of the trials. He said to rejoice in the trials. So we're going to find joy in this, but we ain't happy about it. We're not
right,
exactly happy that we lost our goalkeeper, but what are we going to grow? What are we going to learn from this? How are we going to rise up? How are we going to challenge and push ourselves to get out of our comfort zone? But sports is such a great example for real world situations. You face so many things, no matter what the sport is, that applies to life. And
yeah,
I think Paul does a pretty good job of using sports examples in his writings and the scriptures about running races and stuff like that. So it's not hard to connect the dots when you're talking to these athletes, and just kind of pump in the faith based mindset of that's where the priority is. Soccer's fun and it's great and it's okay to pursue, because I've got athletes that this is what they want to use as their stepping stone to the next levels. But keep your priorities straight. Put God first, and then let everything else fall into place. And and even talking to athletes when they're going through injuries or something like that, and hearing them talk about how God's got me in this, He's going to lead me through this. That's
yeah.
encouraging, because you got teenagers that are sitting there saying, making God a part of their conversation. So
Man, that's powerful.
yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely moving. That's for sure.
absolutely.
Man. So, one of the measures of success or report card elements of coaching is, the win loss column. But in other, I guess, in high school also, um, a lot of success depends on, sending people beyond where you're at. Has Asheboro Hybrid Academy sent anybody to the next level? Are we trying to send people to the next
Yeah.
level. We able to do that.
We're getting ready to have that happen to us. I mean, and we've
Okay.
already talked about the short history of our school. When we started this program, I literally had seventh graders starting varsity soccer. My son was one of them. I mean, we relied on seventh graders for boys and girls. That was our chunk of our team because at this point, my ninth grade or yeah, my sophomore class, which were seventh graders when we started this program, is where my both teams goalkeepers, leading scorer, and leading assist come from. So that class as seventh graders was special in their own way. But now we're at a point where we've started middle school soccer. So we don't rely on middle schoolers to carry our varsity program. We're playing, high school kids now. But saying all that to say, when we started this, we were basically seventh grade and up having to do this. So some of these kids I've been with since their seventh grade year that are now sophomores. But when we started this program, our two best players were freshmen in high school. So I got them for their true 4 years. And so we'll be having in February, the school will have their first official signing days.
Wow.
So we have our first male athlete and first female athlete that have signed with a college, and they're both soccer players. So it's exciting for me.
Wow.
But for the boys, Preston Hammer has signed, and he's going to Cape Fear Community College to play next season. And then on the girls' side, McKenna Von Cannon has signed with Carolina University out of Winston-Salem, and she will be going there to play soccer. So,
That's awesome.
and it's a huge stepping stone for us because it's easy for some of our players to think I'm going to have to at some point leave AHA and play somewhere else so that I can get the exposure and get noticed so that I can go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And we're changing that mindset very quickly because they're seeing their teammates doing that. And I've got other players that aren't seniors yet, so they're not in that place. But talking about that sophomore class, I do have some players that's their aspirations. And so as a coach, it's so rewarding to not only see the two that have made it already, but being able to help them through that process of like with a sophomore that I'm talking to right now and helping her navigate talking to coaches and getting her name out there and being able to contact some coaches and saying, hey, you need to check this girl out. She's legit, she's for real. So don't let us being a new school fly under the radar. So, and then start to get emails from coaches that are asking me about players and saying, hey, is this person committed anywhere or whatever. So it's
Wow.
exciting because we're getting on the map. We played a school last season in the girls' season, and the coach of the other school, she played in college, and she has a friend that's a scout. And I got word that she had told her friend, "You need to come watch AHA play. That's where the talent's at." So it's like, yeah, that's right.
That's
Come watch us
exciting.
play. So we've got a lot of girls that and guys that's not what they want to do, and that's fine. But we have committed to the ones that said, yeah, I'm kind of interested in that to say, if you want to get there, we'll do everything that we can to help you along and navigate that. And it's a different world than when I played. So there's so many more opportunities to get it out there and get yourself seen. So we're excited about that. And for me, it's kind of humbling as a coach because to know you played a small part in their journey and can't wait to see what that next step's going to look like. But to know that also, this is huge, and to be
Yeah.
a part of that process it's been something that I don't expect that I'm ever going to forget as a coach. So
Yeah, dude, man, it's always amazing to help other people reach their dreams. Like that's where the value is.
yeah, and I think that's the humbling part for me as a coach. Like I said before, I'm trying to continue. I want to push my players to be better players and develop them. But I'm in the return, they're pushing me to be a better coach and develop as a coach. And they've taught me. This group has taught me so much from day one, the very first season when several other players wrote me letters and notes to just thank me at the end of the season, and I just kind of realized that this is more than just coaching soccer. I'm investing in these kids, and it's making a difference. But to realize and use McKenna as an example, I just had a conversation with her one day where I was just talking to her about how I would assume she's wanting to play college soccer and want to help make sure she gets there. And apparently it had never been on her radar before.
Wow.
So it was after that conversation that we had that to me just seemed like an obvious next step. But having that conversation and her coming to me later and saying that conversation is what made me start working and believing that I could do it. And now seeing
Yeah.
that she's done it, and it's like, whoa, you know, that that's a, like I said, it's a humbling moment to realize that just what you think is just a casual conversation and passing almost set the trajectory in motion for someone to go and pursue something and then be able to reach their goal and make that happen. So it makes you realize as a coach that you're doing a lot more than just coaching the game of soccer. You're impacting lives. And I haven't seen the movie The Forge, but I have heard the quote that I want to be a fountain, not a drain. And
Yeah.
that really resonates with me because it's like, that's what I want to be for these players is I want to pour into them in whatever direction they want to go in. Just if I can help them achieve that, um, then that's rewarding. So
Yeah. Man, The Forge is a great movie, by the
yeah,
way.
I need to stop and watch that one.
Yeah, it's so good. So, speaking of helping others reach their dreams, you said you have a son and daughter who are teenagers, right? Don't
Correct.
they? They have some things they're pursuing as well, right?
They do. I mentioned, my daughter. She's done a lot of theater work. She's done a lot of dance. She's waiting to find out what college she's getting into. So that's a
Okay.
whole world. She's got her. She's always had it all together and mapped out. So and once she finds out where she's accepted, that's going to really set her things in motion. So but scary, like I said before, that she's 18 and getting ready to take that next step into the college
Yeah.
world. And I know dance and theater is going to be following her wherever she goes. And but she's got some other things that she's tossing around as well. And then yeah, so just she grew up way too fast.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure, man. And so now, Caleb, what's he up to?
Well, he does play soccer, and
Okay.
he's one of he's our captain, and one of our captains, and he's a true leader on the team, and he's the three seasons out of four he's led the team in assists, so he's kind of got that heart of wanting to see his teammates succeed and set them up. So many stories we could tell. Is kind of a running joke on the sideline that if he scores an amazing goal, the only thing he's going to talk about is the assist that he had in that game.
That's
And there's
awesome.
there's sometimes where he gets frustrated that someone else didn't knock it in when he scored the goal because he wants that assist. But outside of soccer, he is a creator as well. You've got the arts covered with Hannah, and then the creator covered with Caleb. He launched his own business when he was 14. He's 15 now, called Rowdy Boys Hat Company. And it has just been amazing to watch it take off. I mean, we dropped off a bunch of shipments today at the packaging store. We go, seems like they're almost on a daily basis shipping hats and hoodies off to people all
Wow.
over the country. And it's just been incredible to watch his vision just take off. And a lot of the designs he's done himself. He's shopped around and found some that he's bought as well. But a lot of it's just what he dreams up and comes up with. And it has just he's had influencers, do unboxings on their channels and
Wow.
musicians that have worn his stuff, and he's just figured out a way to network it and get it out there, and it is just it has really taken off. So
Dude, that's incredible. So 15 and he's sending his apparel all over the country already?
yeah, yeah, it is.
Dude,
It
it's
is. I mean,
incredible.
most of his sales have come online. He sells stuff around here. He set up at a craft show at the YMCA, and he did pretty well. And of course, at school, he sells a lot. But most of his sales come through his website, and he just
What's
hit
his
a.
website? Where can
It
we
is
find it?
rowdyboyshatcode.com.
Okay.
And then that's how you can find his Facebook and his Instagram as well. And his Instagram channel, he just hit 1,000 followers last, I think yesterday. So he was
Man.
running a special to reward that, to celebrate that. But yeah, it's just it's it's cool if it's a cool follow, even if you don't wear hats or hoodies that he designs, because he's constantly sharing the content that other people are posting about wearing his merchandise. So it's kind of crazy to see, and just and he's got some people that just everything he puts out they buy. They
Man.
probably have every single hat and that he's come out with, and he's getting ready to launch some new stuff. And so
Wow.
every time he launches something, it's usually new. But I know he's going to bring back some of the popular sales as well. But um,
Okay.
yeah, just started with a
Dang, man.
conversation with him and a friend at school, and it just kind of took off. And yeah, it's been crazy to see that happen.
That's so cool. It sounds like I need to get him on the podcast to
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
some of
Yeah,
his
he
experiences.
needs some more exposure so he can keep his sales going. I told him that could by all means be a pretty good part-time job for a student, because
Yeah.
usually he's always pulling out cash whenever we go somewhere. I hardly ever have to pay for anything for him anymore. He's got it covered. So
That's great, man. The thing that inspires me is that, your kids are, on the path that they're on because they got to grow up watching you. So that's what's inspiring to me. And so I'm glad we got to do this.
yeah, I think as a parent, you just hope they're more successful and get it better than you do. But one of the things that I appreciate, with Hannah in the arts world, she hasn't lost her faith in that, and it would be easy to do so. It's not always a very faith based
Yeah.
environment. With Caleb, he's put Bible verses in some of his designs, and has put out there that that his faith is important to him. So to see them keep that forefront in their pursuits and not lose sight of that certainly is what makes me more proud than any of the accolades and accomplishments that they do, and just hope that they continue down that path as they continue to pursue whatever their dreams are. That God is the center of those dreams, because um, we know through our ups and downs of getting to where we are in life, that anytime we've taken our eyes off of Him, that's when things seem to unravel pretty quickly. But when we get back on track, it's our success has come from what He's doing in our lives. So
That's right. Yeah, dude, that's so good. Well, man, we're at the end of our time for this episode. Is there anything else before we go?
No, I mean, I think appreciate the opportunity to plug Rowdy Boys Hat Code, so he can get a little bit of extra business
Yeah.
maybe from your viewers. So go check that out. Check out Asheboro Hybrid Academy sports program, because it's the real deal. We have more than just soccer, but that's where that's what I get to invest my time in. And we're getting ready to, like I said, launch into the girls' season, and it's going to be special. So keep us in your thoughts and prayers as we go out there and battle this spring, because I think we can do something. Congratulations to the boys. They won a preseason invitational tournament this season, so it was the very first championship for the school.
Okay.
So that was exciting. So lots of successes already, and I believe a whole lot more to come. And congratulations to Preston and McKenna for being setting being the first two athletes to sign with a college to go play soccer. So certainly super proud of them and what they've done, and glad that their hard work is paying off.
And congratulations to you as their coach as well. That's incredible.
Yeah,
That's so
thank you.
incredible. Absolutely. Hey, listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will be back again 2 weeks from today with another really good episode for you. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. The episodes hit YouTube before they hit the podcast platforms. We're trying to grow that channel. And make sure you try to tell at least one person about this episode. Thanks.